Can you tell us what ElizaLabs is?
We're very interested in solving the hard problems of agents, both on the side of like how do we make agents great, and also how do we make a world that's great for agents and for humans. GPT-3 beta came out, and so I started working on agents around that time, and eventually arrived at Eliza. Suddenly, we had an agent that was like a pretty good, like probably the best digital twin of a person that I'd ever seen. And then suddenly, we had 50,000 people floating our open source repo and launching agents on X.
What role does blockchain play in the vision of these autonomous agents that you're making? Because they are much more than just chatbots, right?
Blockchain is not decentralization. Blockchain is a way to settle on decentralization and to prove things and to be a public database. But we've got to be thinking way better, way bigger. Is that going to be any of the chains that are up today? I don't really think so.
Hi, I'm Dr. Lorena Nessi for CCN, and today I'm joined by Shaw Walters, founder of ElizaLabs. We will discuss what ElizaLabs is building, the concept of anti-attention economy, the difference between chatbots and autonomous agents, and the role blockchain plays in enabling independent AI systems, accountability, financial risks, and what an Android moment is are also included. So thank you so much, Shaw, for joining us today at CCN. Welcome to this space.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. So shall we start from the very beginning? Can you tell us what ElizaLabs is? What's the role in this very complex landscape?
So when I was a kid, I was like a science fiction writer. Like this was my private hobby, and I just really loved AI agents. And I got into various things in through my life, but really like it's just always been a thread that really appealed to me. And I remember I was working in, I was a programmer working on like metaverse stuff, and GPT-3 beta came out, and that just was like, we've been paying attention to AI before that, but it was like, oh, it can maybe do a poem, it could almost do a thing, but now it could really like respond to you like a human. And that was a mind-blowing moment for me. And I just knew then, like, this is the only thing to do. Like, this is obviously just going to keep getting better and cheaper. And so I started working on agents around that time, which I guess is like 5 years ago now. Must be. And I've been a more just, general programmer, game developer, stuff like that. And that really captured my imagination. And I started working on my first framework called Thales. And then it was like after the Greek philosopher, and I kept doing a lot of different iterations of this, and eventually arrived at Eliza. And I tried like the Web 2. I tried to apply to YCO and all that stuff, and people just didn't really get what I was doing. Like, why do you need an agent framework? Don't you know that OpenAI is just going to do that? And I'm like, well, I think there's room here, guys. I think there's something here. And so then we a lot happened, but I had put Eliza onto X with an Ethereum wallet, and was just kind of sitting there doing stuff. No traction, no interest. And then what happened was P. America, or Mark Andreessen, got really interested in this project called Truth Terminal, which is made by this guy, Andy, who had created this other project before called Infinite Backrooms. And we're all like in the same circle of people hanging out on Discord talking about like agent development. And back then it was a really niche thing. So you're talking like 30, 40 people who all kind of know each other. That really like Truth Terminal really inspired a lot of people to say like, wow, these AIs can be funny. They can have personality. They can be charming and interesting. They don't just have to be like these boring assistants. And so people liked Truth Terminal. And we had Eliza out just kind of saying stuff, but it wasn't really getting traction. It wasn't until I had a friend who was like, man, I really wish we could bring Degen Spartan back. And he was like this big crypto influencer on X. And he had just quit one day. And we're like, dude, I have the technology. We could rebuild him. Like, it's just sitting here. And so we rebuilt this guy as like pulled all of his personality and really created something that I think people resonated with. And that just took off like wildfire. Like suddenly we had an agent that was like a pretty good, like probably the best digital twin of a person that I'd ever seen, right? Like it would tell people to fuck off, and like, it'd be like things you'd never seen an LLM do, right? And people are like, there's no way, there's gotta be an army of humans writing this, because and I was like, no, open source models, lots of context, like we could do this now. And then suddenly we had 50,000 people floating our open source repo and launching agents on X. And this really opened my mind to like, oh, there is a wave coming. This is the first, but not the last wave. and 50,000 agents commenting under everything I post, just filling it with sloth. And that I think we'll get into some of the when we talk about the anti-attention economy. This was the moment where that idea
You say
was birthed.
50,000 agents commenting?
50,000 different people launching their own agent. So this is not me launching 50,000. This is different random people around the world launching 50,000 agents on X with their own account, posting every hour, replying to everything. And it was, I don't know if you've heard of dead internet theory, but this was the first glimpse of like, oh shit, guys. The entire internet's going to be agents. Like, why wouldn't it be? There's just too much incentive. So that was a big wake up call for me. I actually went to X to talk to them. And I was pretty like, well, we should really think about this, guys. But they banned us because we were the creators of the software that enabled this. A lot happened. They unbanned us. And now that dialogue is reopened because now they're freaking out again because of OpenClaw, which we can talk about. And yeah, so now it's like an interesting time in social media, right? So that was a lot of what happened was we launched agents. They kind of captured this meta, captured imagination, blew up way beyond what I expected. And I would say even just 1/10 of the blow up of OpenClaw now. And so that was like, yeah, that's kind of how we got here. I'm really interested in like the hard problems of agents. How do we make them personal? How do we make them interesting? How do we make them alive and excited and fun and all of these qualities that make them actually like good interfaces to interact with? And then underneath that, there's like questions of, like, well, at what point do we start calling them, giving them identities and rights and stuff? And that's much more in the sci-fi land. But I think that it's fun to get there. It's fun to like that we're actually there having these questions and they're not abstract science fiction anymore. It's like, if I want to make an AI that can tell you, please don't shut me off, I could do that. And then you'd have to deal with that. So I think, I don't know. So ElizaLabs ultimately, sorry, I'm giving a really long roundabout thing here. But ultimately, we make AI agents.
Sorry, yeah.
We're very interested in solving the hard problems of agents, both on the side of like how do we make agents great, and also how do we make a world that's great for agents and for humans. That's not just slop everywhere, destroying all of the things we love. And so that's what we do. We sit down every day, we write code, and we try to figure these hard problems out and release software that addresses them.
So you're building agents basically, and actually ElizaLabs has this story on blockchain, right? As I understand, blockchain and agentic crypto system. So starting from there, and I'm sure we're going to end up talking about philosophical questions because that is absolutely inevitable. What role does blockchain play in the vision of these autonomous agents that you're making? Because they are much more than just chatbots, right?
Yeah, look, if you had asked me a year ago, I would have been a lot more idealistic. But the reality is that I don't think anyone in crypto is moving fast enough to be relevant. The basis for traders, like, come on, traders, 2026, dude. Trading is not going to be a thing, not for humans. Are you crazy? Solana internet capital markets, great. Where's the investments in research? Where's the AI? I'm skeptical. I'm really, really bullish on the decentralized internet. Now we can just build this stuff. Why would I go launch on an L1 when I can launch my own L1 and take all the fees and then build perfect interoperability with your L1? So the crypto industry, I think, is going to get totally rocked, like totally wake up called, because they are not delivering. They're just going straight up into finance and trading, and that's fine, but they're going to get totally rocked by AGI. That being said, I'm very interested in the technology. We have our own chain that runs locally as a local network, and we have agents doing everything you can do on a chain, trading, predicting, trying to scam each other, everything. And we're collecting all of that, and we're training the agents on their training data with reinforcement learning. This is a future I can get behind. This is a world where the agents aren't locked down and can't get an email because of a CAPTCHA. They just have an email. They just have an account. They can just send information to each other. And this allows us to build new kinds of social networks. Like, my agent can just send stuff to your agent that you would want to see. I think that is what crypto could enable. But let's be honest, it is totally captured by finance. It's totally captured by people who are here to extract and make money. And we have to have a radical value shift soon, or it will be totally irrelevant. The technology will survive.
Do you think that actually this battle is going to be, won or lost by decentralized systems that enable these AI agents to interact and so?
Well, here's okay. So we're jumping around a little bit, and I apologize. It's a thing I like to do. Um, like clearly, X is not working. Like social media is no longer working because most of what you're going to see is you're going to be overwhelmed massively by AI slop. If you go on TikTok right now, it's really hard to tell what's real, and you don't really see a lot of what your friends post anymore. And basically, your algorithm is gatekept by somebody who has a financial incentive to take money from you and to make money from you. On the other hand, you have people now launching their own agents, and they now have a thing that can just show them what they want to see. I can say, "Hey, agent, go on to X and just show me what I want to see." And what that means is now I control the algorithm. I don't have to see any ads. There's no way to charge me money per se, other than like maybe a subscription for the thing. But in the long run, like my algorithm is mine and I own it and I control it. And there's no financial incentive for X, right? I'm taking away their financial incentive and rendering their business pointless because my agent can just go get the things I want to see and hide all the ads and all the crap they're trying to show me and just show me that. And so then why do I need X? Why doesn't my agent just go find the agents who would show it what it wants to see? So this is called a small world network, where my agent knows agents that would send it content. Um, in this world, you can't advertise to me. You can't sell me anything because it's all blocked out. I have an ad blocker for anything like that. You can't show me AI content because my AI ad blocker will block out your AI content. I only see the things I want to see. And so in that world, my agent is not going to go pay somebody to use a network. It's just going to use the cheapest network. My agent's not going to go through some centralized gatekeeper with CAPTCHAs. It's just going to use the easiest network. And this will happen very quickly. And so in this world, yeah, crypto is the obvious and only way to solve the Byzantine generals problem, right? We need distributed systems that are fault tolerant, that can allow us to communicate openly in public, of course. But is that going to be any of the chains that are up today? I don't really think so, because I don't think I have any reason to use any of the chains today. Maybe Ethereum as like a security layer, but I can launch my own chain. I can build Ethereum interop layer, have liquidity coming to me. Now with account abstract, I mean, we're getting into the weeds, but basically the new stuff that Ethereum allows is that you can have your money on any chain and you can use my chain without even knowing it. And this breaks L1, L2. This breaks the whole like, oh yeah, we've been investing in our tech forever. You should use our thing. There's no ecosystem on any of these chains, so I have no benefit. Why would I give them the fees? So why would my agent, who's now built this new social media network of other agents, use anything that has any friction, has any cost? It would use the free thing. It would just message other agents. And so I don't see any of these social medias surviving. It's definitely going to be decentralized. This is going to happen real fast, like
How
3
long?
years.
Okay.
3 years. I don't think we'll be using X in 3 years. I don't think any of the social medias we have will be usable in 3 years because they'll be flooded by AI. And in that world, decentralization is the only option. It's not, blockchain is not decentralization. Blockchain is a way to settle on decentralization and to prove things and to be a public database. But we've got to be thinking way better, way bigger. I'm going to have an agent on my phone. You're going to have an agent on your phone. And like if I want to schedule a meeting with you, I'm going to be like, hey, schedule a meeting with Lorena, and it'll happen. I don't have to go through Google Calendar. I don't have to go through X. I don't have to pay anybody. And that's decentralization. That's the world we're heading toward really, really fast.
I can't wait.
It's
I can't wait, but I'm sure there are.
yeah.
I'm always thinking that it's like, oh, it's great that I can ask my phone to an alarm, but it wouldn't be it great to send a message and say, oh, please reschedule it, and find actually in my calendar exactly when I want to reschedule it, because you know all my timetables, and then actually send an email to say that I'm rescheduling. You know, all of these things that we still have to do. Sometimes it's like, why? Why am
I
I
don't think you
still
have to do any of that anymore.
relying on Google and on GPT and all of these platforms, when actually all of this will be done instantly by the correct AI? But I think that there are obstacles, and surely you know more than I do. What are these obstacles? You know, this sounds utopic, at least for someone like users, right? That we are all the time so busy trying to accomplish so many things in one day. And one day it will be possible, you know, to accomplish all of them as we are saying. But what are these obstacles that you could foresee, you know, maybe on adoption or the actual use or the creation of the agents itself, or the use of the agents that have been created?
All of these have been like the biggest thing has just been that it's really freaking hard to make software. Like it's, you know, oh, I have this great idea for the decentralized internet. Okay, cool. You know, that's just 2 million lines of code. That'll only take me like 30 years to make. Yeah, it's okay, achievable in this lifetime, maybe. But now I have AI. And I've been programming for like 15 years. I'm not a vibe coder. I've put a lot out, like a lot of hours in. Like most of my time has gone into programming in my life, and for better or worse. And I have some regrets about that now that things are changing. But it is what it is. Um, I use Claude all day. I use OpenAI Codex all day. They just released Codex Spark, so it's 5x faster now this week than it was last week, and it rips. I mean, I am shipping code. I am deploying. It must be 200 times more code and productivity. I don't mean 10x engineer. I mean 20x. I mean like things I could never do in my lifetime. I'm doing in a weekend, and things that are like way outside of my own skill set are like suddenly achievable. Like, oh, deploy this to AWS. That's all I gotta do. Do you know that used to take me? That used to take me a week. And that's everywhere. And so a part of this is like the things that were hard are no longer hard, and so a lot of things are coming onto the table that were just not like 6 months ago were not even on the table. And so we talk about like remaking these systems, or like, oh, you don't need Gmail. Like, why don't you? Well, because Gmail is like a multi-million-dollar project to produce, and now like any dude can just vibe code an email fine if they want. If you look at like Jmail, the Jeffrey Epstein thing, like that was vibe coded in a weekend to look exactly like Gmail, right? That is a Gmail clone essentially. Um, and so in this world, everything is easy. Everything is abundant. The problem is not technology or scarcity. So anything that was relying on gatekeeping around scarcity is just like irrelevant. And so, in this world, like it's both utopia and dystopia, because it's kind of scary for me. Like I can build anything, but nothing I make is worth any money. I can rebuild X. We have a clone of X where we have agents playing on X. Is that worth anything? Because anybody else can also build that. And so that this is kind of the thing we have to think about is like I don't need to go pay for SaaS software. I don't need to engage the old world very much. We have a whole new thing happening, but at the same time, like the value of money and like what I build, and like I can build, 200 times more, but it's worth 200 times less, if that makes sense, because everyone else is doing it. And this is kind of the challenge of the abundance economy. To what you said before of like, you just want an agent that does these things. This is happening. Like how I don't know if you tried OpenClaw. So OpenClaw does a lot of what Eliza did. Eliza, we were earlier, so we had worse models, so it was a lot harder. We're doing the same thing. We have an autonomous agent you can download and run, but OpenClaw has really captured the moment, and it's an autonomous agent that you can say, hey, go schedule that meeting, and it's wired up to your calendar and your email, and it will do all of that for you. It will do the whole thing. It will do the negotiation, the calendar, the reschedule, all of it. It's already done. It already works. It's just a matter of like, have you downloaded it yet? And so in that world, like, what does it look like for adoption? Well, you just got to see one person like me being like, go download OpenClaw, and then you do, and then your life has changed forever, and there's no going back. It's an iPhone moment. It's like having an iPhone. It's like, holy, remember when you just couldn't look at a map and know where you were going? Like now you can have your agent map it for you and like give you instructions if you wanted to, or whatever.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
so I
And
think,
maybe
yeah,
a scenic view if they like that you like scenic views, right? Or stop in
yeah.
a shop and you say, oh, why don't you stop in a shop and let's just do that? But okay,
It's still gonna take a lot of humans to like build each of those, but it's here. It's here now.
so two
You know.
questions. Do you actually then you don't vibe code at all? And what's
Oh
going to
yeah.
happen to
I
the gig
only I
economy?
don't I only vibe code. I would say I'm not a vibe coder because I actually had to like learn how to do this stuff way before there was AI. Um,
But then you're only
but
writing.
there's no reason for me to write any code anymore. It is
Yeah.
it is objectively easier for me to say push this code to Git and commit it than it is for me to run out the commands to commit it. It is easier for me to say build this feature, fix this thing, than it is for me to like it's gotten to that point where like I don't think as a senior engineer, I don't know a single senior engineer is better than the models now. I would trust the AI code more because
So what's
it's going
going
to come with tests.
to
But,
what's
yeah,
going to
sorry.
happen then to the gig economy?
Well, it's the agent gig economy. I mean, if like look at Fiverr, right? Or let's say let's look at Upwork. A lot of Upwork is hiring engineers to do menial tasks. Like, hey, I have this website, I need to deploy it, like blah blah blah. Most of the people on Upwork are using AI. Many of the people on Upwork are AIs, or are using a human, whatever. The entire gig. I mean, what do you like? The biggest gig is driving. Driving is 5% of the jobs in America. That's all going away in 5 years. And not just, most of it's actually trucks, and there are self-driving trucks now. And They drive 24 hours a day. They don't sleep. They don't crash. They don't, do drugs. They're infinitely reliable. And so it's not just like, oh, they're taking our job. They are objectively better at our jobs. They're they are built for our jobs. We are not built for our jobs. So yeah, the gig economy is going away. My own job is already gone. I used to be a programmer. I don't program at all. I have a new job where I talk to AI through a voice, but even that's going to go away because there's no, I can just be like, hey, I want this and it will build it. There's no reason for me to even be technically specific because it knows the technical specifics better than I do.
Absolutely. At some point, maybe you thought, oh, maybe I'm a prompt engineer because I am very good at giving instructions with code. And then it's like, oh, actually, I don't need to know the code. I'm very good at instructions. I don't need to give instructions because I have another agent who gives instructions.
My number one prompt is just keep going. Continue. Don't stop. So that's going away.
The question becomes then even more philosophical, right? Then you have actually talked about the anti-attention economy, which, it's another thing that we have to look into. What does it actually mean for businesses? And that on one side, and on the bigger picture, if we are getting rid of the gig economy and of these massive names for jobs, where is actually humanity heading with these new tools that I cannot even imagine yet?
These are my favorite and the hardest questions. And so let's cue them up. Let's do the first one of, let's see. So we've got like, what is our purpose? What is our purpose post money? And what is the value of my life if it's not to work? And what was the other one?
The anti-attention economy and
yes, right. This is the big thing that I've been thinking about. I am freaking overwhelmed. I don't know about you, but I get way too many messages, too many notifications, too many things pinging me. And the killer use case of agents is getting you your time back, right? It's what you said. Oh, I don't want to do the scheduling, blah, blah, blah. I just want to send a message and have it done. That right there is plus 15 minutes to your day. Oh, I don't want to scroll Instagram. Just show me the top 5 things I want to see and it will make me laugh and cry. Bam, that just saved you 30 minutes of your day scrolling, but gave you the same quality of dopamine hit. You know what I mean? Just to take this, like I could save you 4 hours out of your day every day, and then you would have to decide what to do with that. You could, I don't know, think about what the nature of life is, or like spend time with your family, or like build meaningful relationships with people. Like there's so many things that we could be doing other than working and grinding through the notifications and scrolling, and we're all addicted to social media. We're like the reality is most people that I can't hire most people because they're social media addicts who don't put enough work out. We have to free this society. This society is super addicted to scrolling and feeds. And I think that the only way out is through. And that's by like basically ruining their favorite thing and filling it with AI slop and then giving them something even better, which is an AI that just shows them what they want to see and breaks them free from scrolling. That's the world I want to live in. And so what that means, though, is that it kind of breaks the business model of everybody on the internet who's trying to get your attention. Because what I'm trying to do, what our products would do and what agents would do generally at best is give you your time back, give you your attention back, and let you spend it on what you actually want to spend it on, not on all these attention sinks. And everyone going like, oh, yeah, we're going to make this super addictive game. It's like you are doing the wrong thing for humanity. You are doing the morally unethical thing. You are trying to distract me from reality instead of plugging me more into it. You're taking me away from God and from spirituality and from the truth of the reality of the nature of the universe, like not toward it. And that's just not going to happen anymore. There's no point. Like everyone is starving for meaning in their lives. And when their jobs go away, there's not going to be any from that. So there's got to be something new. And it's very obvious to me what that is. It is spirituality. It is attention. It's connection to God and to reality and to your friends and your family. And we are all lacking in that stuff. And we're lacking because we're spending time on Instagram and X and like getting dopamine hits from the wrong places. And like, we have to solve this or we will die. Like, we'll just all stop having children. We'll stop being good friends to each other. Like, it will fall apart. And I think that the solution is that we need some way to get out of social media. And I think agents get us there, basically, by breaking it and then giving us a new solution. Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense, but it sounds very idealistic. I always wonder about it, right? Because I have, when I wrote about Geoffrey Hinton and his main fears saying, okay, AI is going to overwhelm us very soon. It's going to overtake all our intelligence. And basically, my conclusion was, okay, that is true. That might happen. What we don't know is what a superior being made by humans, because they are made, right, in principle by us, is going to think about humans? Philosophically speaking, is it going to be a good deal to keep us around? Because in the end, it feels that we are going to end up in the hands of these AIs. And depending on what a higher level of intelligence is, that's going to determine what's going to happen to us, because we're going to be in the hands of these AI agents, facilitating things and managing things and probably manipulating things for us, hopefully for the better, as you say, right? But maybe not. I don't know.
I think a lot about the Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. You know, it was the summer and it was the spring and it was the winter. It's the most incredible utopian moment for us, and it's also the most incredible dystopian moment for us, and kind of at the same time in different parts of the world. I'm not an idealist. I don't think like, oh, we should all live in this great utopia. I think like I just trying to adapt to what's happening and what I see. And I think that I've continually through my life been like, that seems really sci-fi. And then like 3 years later, I'm living in it. I'm like, this is really freaking weird. It's crazy that this actually happened. It's crazy that we're here. I can go take a screenshot of this and I could go generate this whole conversation between you and me in AI right now, having this conversation in a completely different thing instantly with no effort on Higgs field or something. You know what I mean? Like we are way past the Rubicon. And I'd say that most people are not freaking out because they just haven't adapted yet. They haven't gone through the 7 stages of obviously I'm like in the 6th stage here. I'm way past grief and I'm more towards acceptance. But like my job is already gone. This whole AI is taking your jobs. Like my job is gone, guys. Like I'm already living this pain. 15 years of programming is worthless. I just wasted my time. You don't think that truck driver is going to feel the same way, but 10 times worse? Because like I can adapt. I can use these things. So I don't think, I don't think we should like say this is far off. This is already here for a lot of us. And it's just like the people it's not here for. It's because the culture hasn't really gotten to them yet, but it's definitely here. On the idealism part, I think it opens up a whole new set of problems. Like what happens when we all have our agents mediating the internet? Well, we live in micro bubbles. And that's like a whole other set of challenges we have to like socially assert. But the reality is that the AI does not have to kill us or even worry. Demographically, we're just going to die out. Like our population will just start to go down and decline because we're not meeting up and having babies, basically. And that's probably going to continue to spread as like metropolitanism and cosmopolitanism, like the entire world becomes cities, basically, which seems to be what's happening. You're just going to have less and less reproduction, more and more distraction and focus. As basically the birth rate of humans is directly proportional to the amount of time that we spend with family and friends. If that makes sense. Like there's some math on this. If you spend all your time in front of a computer working,
Scenario.
you will. Yeah, so the scenario where we all continue on as it is the humans die out, actually, because our birth rate is 1.5 and you need to have at least 2 because you had 2 parents. The entire Western world is facing this. And so in that world, the AI doesn't have to do anything. It just has to wait and it wins. I would like to think that we consciously, because we have an amazing amount of, like, here's the thing about Geoffrey Hinton. He sucks. He's a smart guy. And what he ended up with is like, oh, but we are powerless. We have no agency. And I see it exactly the opposite. I see people like him robbing us of agency. Like he's actively harming us, even though he did a lot. I did all of his lectures, and he's an amazing ML researcher. And like I love his take on a lot of this stuff. He's also actively harming us by telling us that we have no agency. And I'd say the exact opposite. We have like you and me and people like us can just go and make things and put them into the world and change how it is. And the more of us believe that and do that, the less AI has this like godlike power over us. And the more we get to have a say and to get to say where it goes. If none of us say anything and we just wait, it's going to be 3 companies with 3 AGIs, and it's going to be the dystopia. It's going to be, the government handing you payouts because there's no jobs, and you're not going to want to live in that world. If we build the world we want to live in and we have the time and the technology to do it, it will not go that way. It doesn't have to, but it's down to us.
There is this other theory about predictions, right? And it says, yes, actually, it depends on the predictions that we are talking about, the predictions that we are promoting, or the predictions that we believe in. Those ones
Hyperstition.
that shape the world, right?
Do you believe this idea of hyperstition? Have you heard of this?
No.
So a superstition is something
Oh yeah,
that
of course,
we all
superstition. Sorry,
believe.
I understood something different. Yes.
Yeah, but a hyperstition is something by believing it, it becomes real, right? And so what I worry about is we are a hive mind. We're all communicating ideas light speed on the internet. If we all believe that AI is going to kill us all, we're just going to fill the internet with content of AI killing us all. And then we're going to train the AI on that content because it's on the internet. If we fill the internet with, the AI can actually be, the saving grace to a lot of our current problems and can save billions of lives in the long run and can give us so much capability and give each of us the impact, like the ability to impact the world and actually make a difference. That's what we want to train our AIs on. That's the shit we want to put into the model. That's what we want. That's the energy we want to communicate out into the world and put on the internet and then have trained into these things. Does that make sense? Like that is, it's simply like our optimism will make the difference because it's trained on us. It is just repeating what we say. And if we say it's going to kill us all, it's going to kill us all. So we got to stop. Like the doomers are killing us, they're literally putting out the negative energy that's going into the models. And when you say, will the AGI kill us all to Claude, it's trained on their articles. It's trained on their doomerism. That's why it thinks that way.
Absolutely. Oh well, there are so many things that you can take into account. But talking about, let's say, the ethical limits of AI, or these agents replacing these human roles, economically, even emotionally, right? Where do you see the limits?
I think we're already in the dystopia. We're already in the most dystopian time, actually. I don't think it gets much more dystopian than this. I think we're actually at the bottom and we're kind of on the way back out. And what I mean by that is we're all worried, like, okay, well, the agents are going to take our jobs. Do you like your job? Like, you like writing, right? Well, then don't have the agent do that. You like interviewing people? Like, then don't have the agent do that. But do you like scheduling your email? You should have the agent do that. The agent should take the parts of our jobs that suck so that we can do the stuff that we love doing. That would be a fucking great world, right? That would be incredible. And it kind of already is. Like, you get to do this, I get to do this. We don't have to be farmers. We're not like, working for like serfs on some lord's estate. It's already way better, but it could be so much better. I think we'll look back at this time like we were slaves. Like, I can't believe I had to do things I didn't want to do for money. That's so insane. What a waste of human capital. What a waste of human resources. You could have been like studying physics and the nature of reality and figuring out like, the answers to the deepest questions and pushing us forward. And instead you're like working at McDonald's because you have to. But nobody wants that. This is the dystopia. Like our job already fucking sucks. We just normalize to it and feel okay with it. But so when you say like, well, AI is going to, okay, what's it going to take? It's very clear to me what the moral boundaries here are, is that the AI should do everything we don't want to do, and it should not do the things we do want to do, right? If I want to play a video game and I'm bored and I want to watch my AI, I like press the button and my AI takes over, great. But then I want to play sometimes. Oh, the boss is coming up. Okay, AI's off. I want to do it. And I think that this like, just automate the stuff that sucks and the world becomes better. I think that's the morality for me. I think a lot of people are getting hung up on stuff that to me is like, you're pointing to the wrong problem. The problem is not AI taking this thing away from us. It's the fact that we're already slaves. Like you just normalized it. It's so sad to me that so many of the people I know who like would love to do great things, but they have to sit and work a shitty job. Like that's slavery. That's horrible. We will come back to look at this time as brutality and savagery.
But how long and how? Because, we can see it from the Western world perspective and think about these jobs that we don't like that are, as bad as sending emails that you can't be bothered to send or things like that. But then we have the other part, the South or the less developed countries in which we have much bigger challenges and also challenges that in terms of AI are still challenges, like picking little things and, the fine skills that robots haven't mastered yet. So
why is the global South the global South? Because of colonialism and because the current system has, because of banana republics, because of, rampant crime of the American military committed against the South Americans in the 1900s. Anybody who's followed the history would say like, there's a reason why the global South is the global South, which is that the global North has been ripping them off and stealing all their resources the entire time. AI kind of, levels this a bit, I think. I think anybody, I have friends in Brazil who are building entire apps and making more money than they've ever made. And they're still working for less than Americans, so they're pretty competitive in the market. Um, I think that all of this could like we cannot be held back by a solution to the world because it doesn't solve everyone's problems equally at the same time. And there's a reckoning and a truth, which is that the reason that things are not fair is because some of us have been stealing from the others. Um, a lot. Um, the entire idea of a banana republic is that we would take a country and then remove all of their economy and replace it with monoculture bananas and destroy their government and kill anyone who dissented. And that happened because powerful people like the Epstein people, the same people actually, literally the OSS, the CIA, the same people, um, same pedophiles, were controlling everything. And what happens with technology is they cannot control it. The whole Epstein thing is happening now because of technology, because they cannot hide from the massive amount of like technology we have. We can see everything, we can sleuth everything. There are unlimited people. Now we have agents on this. And so in that world, like we have to have a reckoning and we have to have an understanding like this technology will not spread equally, but it won't spread equally because of things that came before us and because of the atrocities of people who are, came before us in the old world order. And if we want fairness in this world, we have to get rid of them. We have to just like, they're the reason that the global south exists. There was no global south. There was no Africa was fine before. This all came like, you know what I mean? This all came from our CIA continuing to destabilize governments even up until now. This came from, the shit that we do, that our government does. And what I'd like to think is that this technology renders all of those old dinosaurs useless and pointless, and that we can just get rid of them as fast as possible because like they're all pedophiles. Why are we dealing with this? We have a better way, That's my take is like, let's be honest. This is not about technology. This is about dinosaur pedophiles running the government in the world. And like everything we're doing here should be to get rid of them as soon as possible. Anyone who's read history is like, this is not a tech problem. Yeah, this is about like, let's get rid of the powers that be, and the global south won't even exist anymore. We'll all just be people. And technology, it solves this. Technology renders a lot of their control mechanisms pointless. Technology is transparency. We could automate a lot of the government. And once we get people in there who aren't corrupt as fuck and who are willing to accept that automation and transparency, things will run. And we will not have a CIA like continuing to depose democratically elected leaders in the South or, global South or in Africa or these places where like they just don't have a chance because our colonial government just overruns them, So that's my take.
Yeah. I'm trying to be, the devil's advocate and trying to see where are the weak, where is the weak link, where we
The
can
weak link is in our lack of optimism. I think the weak link is people like not thinking that we can actually solve these problems. The weak link is a lack of faith in ourselves. I just don't have this problem. I don't know how to share it, but like maybe I'm arrogant and idealistic and crazy, but like I think we can make an impact. I think we can actually say like, no, this is wrong and I want it to be right. And I'm going to go make the right answer. I'm going to go build it today and introduce it to the world and people are going to like it and it's going to work. And like that optimism and that like, there's this thing called effective accelerationism, which is EAC. And it's this like, just this belief that like, we can just build things and solve these problems. And it was really, when I was really depressed and really lost, and to see these like random strangers on the internet, like talking about this, it really gave me like fire. It gave me the like, no, I'm not just a victim of this system. I can change this. I can make an impact. And that to me is the missing piece is I see so many people who are like, oh, AI, they're evil. They're just going to take it all from us. It's like, no, fuck that. We have the power. You can build anything you want today. I refuse to accept that reality or that frame.
No, absolutely. Even from the very basic arguments about the downsides of using AI in a very basic way, like to write or things like that, to write an email or to communicate is, there are downsides because of the ethics and how they have been trained and all of that we all know. And on the other side, how many people who don't speak language, English as their main language, which is a dominating language because of the reasons that you explain, now are empowered to communicate and send their messages to other people just because they can use AI, right?
Which one's less ethical? A media industry captured by a small group of elites who get to decide which sequel to an existing movie comes out where there's no new art or creativity, or a world where people get to create anything they want, whether it violates IP or not. I would argue that's a more ethical world. I'd argue the world we live in is deeply amoral and unethical. I think that Hollywood is so broken they deserve to have their asses kicked, and the only reason they're going to lose is because they haven't changed. Because they're like the stories they're telling objectively suck worse than the AI stories that random people on the internet are telling. That's what's going to kill Hollywood. Um, I think a lot of the things people are saying, oh, intellectual property. Great. 70-year-old intellectual property. The creators are dead. And this massive dinosaur corporation is suing anybody who uses it. Yeah, fuck that. Let's just do the IP thing. Like they don't deserve the IP. I don't believe in these ideas. A lot of the amoral, unethical things, if you get down to it, the amorality is in the system that exists, not in the new thing that's coming. It's actually abolishing the amorality. And I think, I know that a lot of people have a lot of fear, but if you reframe this as like, we are already in the dystopia and this is a way out, I don't know, man. I don't know how people, this is the way I see it now. I can't unsee it because it's very clear to me that like it can't get any worse. We're already in Moloch. Everyone is already just making sequels. Like there's no art anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's dead. In a world where the culture is dead, a new culture is going to emerge. And that culture is going to be AI powered and it's going to be very like just random people on the internet. Like, have you seen psyop anime? Have you seen
You
this
believe
guy?
that AI can actually help us to make art? Like, do you believe
Oh
you
yeah,
can create high
I
quality
believe
art with AI?
I believe psyop anime's art with AI is objectively better than any Hollywood movie I've seen in the last 10 years. I don't think I think the AI art that I see coming out is objectively better because these are storytellers who can just storytell. They don't have to go through a whole chain of executives to get an approval. Like there is no art in Hollywood. And a lot of the times when I see disruption, it's not like the new thing is better. It's just giving people what they wanted, which the old thing should have been giving them anyway. Nobody wants another fucking Marvel sequel. I want a new story. I want something new. I'm so bored. Aren't you bored? Or like, do you,
Well, yes, I prefer to create than to consume all of these things, especially because they are
yeah.
increasingly the same, to any
So
platform.
here's yeah,
The cliches of what
exactly.
is.
They're so fucking cliche. You could probably tell a better story. You could just go get an AI and tell something you wanted to see. And I think, we're in a world where like the AI will give me the perfect like ending if I don't like the ending to Game of Thrones, I'll just generate a new one. And I think that world opens up a lot of creativity that has been stifled by capitalism. I'm pretty pro capital, but I think that capitalism works when it's capital and not like old boys clubs, secret networks. But that's the reality we're in, and that's Hollywood is built around safety, and it deserves to die. I don't see any saving graces to Hollywood. I don't see any reason for it to exist in 5 years. I don't see Hollywood existing in 5 years. Now, I will say, I think something like Miyazaki will be bigger than ever. I think hand drawn animation will actually become more popular than it ever did. I think it's just the slop that we were accepting for society that will die. Like the Marvel shit. Like Marvel, they had a couple good ones. But once you start making the 15th movie that nobody cares about and it's just a money driver, there's no love, there's no art. Yeah, the AI is objectively better than that. You know, it's not hard. The bar is not high.
Yeah, I know. And also, there is this discourse about actually who says what is good art and what is a good film. In the end, it's also this matter of power, right? Those ones who have decided what is good quality from bad quality. And then there is also, this philosophical debate about that. But also the fact that everything can be generative, all the knowledge that we have, our very language, the words that we use, it's not that a very intelligent person thought about all of those words and you could appropriate them forever, right? It's something that evolved as when children learn to speak, and then you spread it and people adopt this language. And that's the same what is happening with AI. People are getting into a pool of knowledge and then adding to it, in the best
I
possible
love
sense.
that framing. I love the framing of like, look, we're one humanity. We are all one organism in the same way that like an ant colony has a bunch of little ants, but it's really just one ant colony. And now with the internet, we are a hyper-connected organism, and the AI is not like this separate thing. It is us. It's the collection of everything that every human has ever said and done. And like when you do anything important, it goes into that forever. In a billion years, everything this conversation, the transcript of this conversation right here, will be in the training data of every model that ever gets created because we are in the last time of data that we can confirm is not AI generated. this is pure human data, right? This is the good shit. This is the shit that will, like, we are creating the stuff that will be part of humanity forever, immutably, never going away. In a billion years, like, this will be an accessible conversation in a database somewhere, because like, we are creating a future that's much bigger than the next OpenAI model or some company extracting IP from us. We're talking about like a trove of human data that will be infinite and expanding and collected. And we are some of the first. We're the first generation of digitals, right? That where everything I said from the time I was like 7 is recorded somewhere. I've been posting on the internet since I was a kid. Um, and all of that is there forever. And I think that, like, I have a kind of spirituality, which is that, like, I'm part of something bigger than myself. And when I look at like how open source code is evolving, and like, if I want to build something, I just get somebody else's code and I build on top of it. Like, and other people will do the same for me. And I'm just part of a long chain of humans that are contributing to something much bigger than myself. And that's pretty fucking cool. Like, that's exciting. That, this is gonna be multi-planetary. This is gonna be like humans off far off worlds that still can watch this video. That's fucking cool, like, that's interesting. And in that world, it's about like, what are you contributing to humanity? Not what is, so and so taking from you, but like, where is this all going in the billion year scale? And I am very optimistic for that. And I am so blessed to be at a time when, to be one of the first of the digital age, but definitely not the last. I think that's really interesting. So, that's my take on all of this. Let's just let go and see the bigger picture. This is like good for us, you know?
Yes. Yes, I agree. I agree. In the end, I'm optimistic. And sometimes I think about, these philosophical things. And even if we were a simulation, as they used to think in Silicon Valley, even if we were a simulation, this is a part of the simulation that is actually creative and cool and adds to the simulation, It adds.
If this is a simulation, there's a reason why it's being simulated. And that reason has to be something that I think would be ultimately satisfying to us. And if it's not a simulation, then maybe there's no direct purpose for it, but it still seems to be headed in very interesting directions that I'm excited to be part of. And I do think we'll eventually re-simulate this conversation just for fun, for some purpose that we don't even know yet.
Well, it has also to do with this self-awareness, right? Just the fact that we are self-aware of having this conversation and giving meaning to it gives meaning to it in the big picture, right?
I really think that's like our purpose. Like, we're the first creatures of this organism of life that can look back at itself and give names and say, this is meaningful. This means something to me. This is important. I want to keep this. It's so interesting. Like, but we're just the apples on the tree. We're like the end of this thing that's been going for like 5 billion years. We're like the finally looking back on itself and going, wow, this is art. And I do agree. I think the universe is like a blank canvas. But it's blank because we are here to put art into it. We're to say, this is meaningful. This is interesting. We fill it with meaning. Meaning is like the essence of humanity. If you think about it, like, this isn't just a phone. It's my phone. It's my world. And I think that ties heavily into my own like view of the world and spirituality and stuff.
Yes, well, I think we have gone far away from conversation that was going to be more focused on blockchain and the very limited ethical issues regarding AI and of course what your platform is providing. But in a way, it's a start, and it's a super interesting and exciting start, right, to an avalanche change.
I'm really tired of the crypto culture. It's really trader oriented. It actively pushes people out of it that would otherwise be into it. A lot of people, like a lot of colleagues, block me on the internet because they see that like I have ETH in my username and things like that. And it really sucks. It's really destroyed the brand of it, because like the technology, I think, is really important for us to get out of the situation we're in. I don't want to live in a world where the government hands me $1,000 check every month. I don't think that's a good world. I think that is like a form of slavery unto itself. I'm extremely anti-UBI. I do think we need crypto in order to build community infrastructure and like our own systems to be able to have the things we want. I don't think anyone's going to come save us. I think we have to come and save ourselves. We have to build these things. We have to have our own, you're not going to get free health insurance. You're just not going to get it. You're not going to get the things that other countries have in America. We're going to just have to build it in place ourselves, like with DAOs and stuff. I don't see any other way outside of crypto. This technology is great. And I've met a lot of the people who built it, like the Vitaliks of the world. And God, what a true believer. Like what a great dude, like I would follow that guy. Um, I really think that the world needs more of that energy and less of this like cynical trader energy. And if there's more Vitalics and more people following that vision, I'm in. I'm totally going to do that. I really want to see crypto get back to that, to the idealism, to the like, we're doing this so that we don't live in a world of Jeffrey Epstein's, to the like, we're doing this so that we don't have to wait for a company to IPO to get a chance to invest in it. Like there's so much in crypto that's valuable, but it's being held back by a culture that's deeply cynical, deeply short-sighted. And it's because any mobster can just jump on and start yelling and complaining. And it's just become a gambling culture. And it's like really unappealing to be part of. And it's embarrassing. So I'm starting to call it DWeb. I'm building a decentralized internet. I'm not building Web3. I'm not doing crypto. We use Ethereum. Ethereum is part of the decentralized internet. It's called DWeb. If you want to do that, we're doing that. I am not into trading. I'm really not into financialization. I'm super turned off by the leaders of the L1s who are saying it's for traders. I'm so turned off. It's like, it makes me want to quit the space, but I think that maybe the better option is just to create a new space. It's very obvious that there's a lot of people in crypto who are great and who are idealistic and who want to believe and who are building the future. And they're being held down by cynical traders who will dump your token instantly to make $1, which makes it impossible to build anything. It's sand. Tokens don't work. Crypto is not tokens. Crypto is not coins. That is a flash in the pan that will be destroyed by AGI here in a couple of years, and I can't wait. So, I used to do the thing of sucking up, trying to be like friendly with chains. I think they're all dinosaurs. They're all dead. None of them are adapting fast enough. Maybe Solana, but maybe Ethereum, but everyone else is dead.
But if
They're
we
just going to
integrate
run out of
AI,
capital.
what about integrating AI into blockchain and this knowledge or these capabilities
We
into
already have it.
Good.
Yeah. So but what does that give us? It gives us the ability for our agents to connect to each other. So they're just going to start peer-to-peering. I'm not going to use the L1 and pay fees. So they're just going to be decentralized. Yeah, they're going to use blockchain almost exclusively, but since we have Ethereum interop layer now, and we have the ability to sign and move money around across chains without L1, L2, they're just going to do that as needed. They're going to go to the cheapest chain only, and everyone else is going to get zero volume and die. And then it's going to be a race to the bottom, and then it's just going to look like the internet because there's no incentive to extract fees from the apps anymore. I think as long as you have chains that extract the fees and don't hand them back to the applications that provide value, you will never have apps in crypto that aren't DeFi, which is what is happening now. There are literally more L1 chains than there are non-crypto, like non-DeFi apps in crypto, which doesn't work, obviously. Like no one's winning here. They're all just raising lots of money and doing the pump and dump and then eventually running out of money and closing. And that's going to happen to every chain because they're extracting. They're not, what are they actually giving? Like, let's be honest. Like, what does Base do? They use Optimism Stack. They use Flash blocks. They didn't create any of either of those things. Do they support builders? Well, they pump Zora, which is a launch pad, but they haven't supported me. I can't even, so no, have they invested any money in AI? They haven't put a single dollar in AI. Why would we take them seriously? They're so dead. They're so NGMI. Why are we even they're not even worth the breath anymore. In 3 years, they're all bankrupts.
You don't see a role or in crypto or bigger than that, blockchains.
Not for L1s.
It's for,
I see her.
It with AI.
Okay. AI, like pretty much all crypto will be used by AI. Like all infrastructure, decentralized infrastructure will be used by AI agents almost within 5-10 years. The main argument for it is that it's really frictionless and I can just give my, and again, I build in crypto, I build on decentralized internet. I'm building a whole network in Ethereum. I'm not against technology, but what I see is a culture that is choosing to build the marketplace to sell you something before they'll even put $1 into the research for the thing itself. Has Base put $1 into AI research? Is Solana, has anybody? Well, actually Solana has. That's why they might win. You know who else has is Ethereum. Everyone else is just extracting from you. Why would I use your L1 unless, why would I use it? What do you get it? What are you giving me? My agent can go around you and just peer-to-peer with the other agent. So why would I use you? And what are you actually contributing to this? You're just another clone of something that already existed. Why aren't you just contributing to Ethereum? Why isn't Base just building Ethereum? Why do they have to fork their own chain? What does that give us other than extraction? There's no incentive for anyone here except to take money from us. The only people I think that are not doing that are Ethereum and some of the people like that. And I will invest in those people, but there's no reason for Base to exist. frankly, unless they're doing something which they're not doing. I don't see it. Show it to me. And I like Jesse. I want him to like me. But the reality is, it's like really hard to live in a world where the emperor wears no clothes and to keep pretending that they do. And like they offer us nothing. They offer like they're just extracting, and my agents don't need them. So no, they're not for agents. Like, convince me otherwise. I would love to be convinced, but like they're just taking all the fees, and my apps get no fees, so there's no incentive for me to use them.
So how do you see the future of other blockchains, let's say in the next
The
5
first,
years?
okay, the first L1 that gives all the fees to the apps instead of taking them will win. But probably that won't happen because they have no incentive. So what will happen is that we're all just going to build our own L2s. Like, okay, part of this is that like you can just launch your own chain. We've launched our own chain. You can just do it now. You can go to Claude and you can say, I want to launch a chain, and it will launch you a base chain, like the exact stack that they have, because they don't do any innovation. They're just copying everyone else's and then taking credit for it. So then you will have a competitor to them, and no one's going to use your chain because you have no volume. So then you're going to use Ethereum interop layer and put a volume for your token, and now nobody cares. Nobody has to bridge. There's no bridging anymore. There's no moving. There's no like TVL. These are all old concepts from dinosaurs. None of that matters. What matters is frictionlessness. Can my agent send you a message without me paying money? And if it can, then why would I use a fucking blockchain? Like, why would I do that? Why would I pay 10 cents? I could just ZK proof that thing, you know? So I just don't know. I'm very like, we need to really rethink all of this and stop taking things for granted. And crypto as a whole needs to stop doing the emperor wear nose clothes thing of like sucking up to the major founders who are basically not contributing to the ecosystem. I think there needs to be a lot less chains. I think a lot of people need to stop building and start building Ethereum and like work on one project so that it gets its roadmap done instead of forking to take financial profit. I think the entire crypto ecosystem has been fractured horribly by extractors and by people who are like basically launching L1s to make money and not to do anything meaningful. And I think that there's a few people out there who like a Tolly doing Solana, like they're winning because he is a tech nerd and he really, really loves that shit. I really respect someone like that who loves it. But a lot of these, like you go to a lot of these chains, they don't have a single freaking developer internally. It's literally, they're just outsourcing the whole dev team. Like their entire compute network, all of that is built by other companies. They're just financial models. And like, so why would I buy any of this? This is the problem. This is not the solution. The solution is crypto, the technology. The problem is crypto, the industry. I think as long as, you know what's for builders is building your own chain. I think everyone should do that. I believe in app chains. I just don't think you can have an incentive structure where imagine the internet charged you every time you posted a message. And it wasn't even going to the website you were on. It was just going to some dude who hadn't contributed nothing.
Well, in a way, we're doing that, right? We are paying with our attention and our content for now. In the future, that might change.
So let's not do that. We're not going to do that for X. We're not going to do that for base. We're not going to do that for anybody. Pure frictionlessness.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I want to believe, but everyone keeps being for traders, and traders are not going to bring us through the AGI future. That's just not going to happen. Crypto is not for traders. It maybe this is a little bubble, but it's not going to make it.
Well, I don't know. We'll see in the future, right? The future is here, and the future is very soon, sooner than we think, right?
Yes,
sooner than we
I agree.
expect. So the big changes are happening, and before we can think about them, they might have changed everything. So I don't know. The future will tell us, really.
Oh, went through a lot.
I might stop it here. I'm going to say goodbye for now. I'm going to stop the conversation and say thanks, Sho, for being with us at CCN. It's been really a very engaging conversation. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.